In this demo, I am going to show the iFlow tool, which was introduced with PI 7.31. iFlow is an Eclipse tool to configure integration scenarios. In this demo, we will use iFlow to configure an integration to send an iDoc message from an SAP ERP system to 3 different non-SAP receivers: file, database, and MQ series queue. In addition, which receiver to receive the message will be dynamically determined based on the content of the iDoc message payload. Just for demonstration purposes, we will use the unit of measure. If the unit measure is PCE, we will send the message to a file. Otherwise, the message will be sent to the MQ series queue. In addition, in all cases, the message will always be sent to a database table. Here we have the NetWeaver Developer Studio, which is an Eclipse tool with the SAP plugins installed to develop SAP applications. In order to use iFlow, we have to go to a perspective. And the perspective is SAP Process Integration Designer. And once we have the perspective, there is a login, a connection, which we can use to connect to the PI system that we want to develop our configuration. As you can see, once with a connection, we have 2 tabs. Once we are connected to the PI server, we are presented with information within 2 tabs: the PI Explorer, which contains the configuration information, and also the Enterprise Service Browser, and this happens to contain the information in the Enterprise Service Repository. So as you can see, we can use the Eclipse tool to work with the Enterprise Service Repository and also to work with the configuration tool. For the demo itself, I have already designed the integration flow, which I'm going to go ahead and show you. I double-click to open up the integration flow. And let me enlarge this. So as you can see, in one glance, we can see the complete integration scenario. There's one sender going to 3 different receiver interfaces. And from the sender side, we have a system, and we have the interface, which is the material NetMask iDoc. It's using the iDoc adapter to send it. And on the receiver side, we have a system with 3 different interfaces that we want to send it to. And this one is to insert into a table, which we're using a JDBC adapter. And this one we are writing to a file, and we are using the file adapter. And this one we're sending it to a queue, MQ series queue, and we're using the JMS adapter. And let's take a look at the configuration for the adapters. And if we right-click on this, and we can select the configuration channel. And here, as you can see, it's already pre-populated in the direction of the sending, the systems, and the interface, and we need to provide a channel name. And over here, for the adapter type, we can select the adapter we're going to use to send a message. And in this case, it's going to be the iDoc AAE adapter. And we can look at the adapter-specific information specific to the iDoc adapter. And so we can select the program, enter the program ID to deal with the iDoc, the client, the authorized user to access it, the ERP system, the server name, and the system number. And we can go to the model configuration, and it will show the the interface, the integration scenario again. Over here for the JDBC adapter, similarly, we right-click on the configuration channel, and it will show us that we can select the JDBC adapter from the list. And of course, we have to provide a channel name. And here, the adapter-specific information, we're going to be going against the Microsoft SQL Server. And so we have to provide the JDBC driver and also the connection information as to the database and the user and password to access the SQL table. And for the file, we can go to the file adapter configuration. In addition to supply the channel name and selecting the adapter type as file, the adapter-specific information for the file adapter is that we need to provide the target directory and also the file name that we're going to use to create the file. And in addition to that, we can provide process information saying that we will be adding a timestamp to the file name. And for the JMS adapter, we have the configuration parameter for the JMS, and we select the JMS adapter type. And for adapter-specific information here, we are going to select the connection factory for the JMS queue. This is for NQ series, and of course the class we're going to be using to write to the queue, and the server location and port number, and also the JMS queue name that we're going to be sent the message to. Now let's go back to the model configurator. In the model configurator, we can take a look at how the message will be determined, how dynamically it will be determined. We select the interface split. And in the interface split, as you can see, we have under the property tab, we can take a look at the conditions. And so the conditions here is that we're going to look at the unit measure. If the unit measure is PCE, then we're going to send it to the interface, which is going to write to the file. It's not equal to PCE, then we're going to send to the JMS. As you can see, in the condition here is blank, and so in all cases, it will be inserting, send it to an interface to insert into a database table. Now, let's take a look at the mapping. So we can go and select the mapping we want to take a look at. And this is the operations mapping we're going to use. And so let's double click on it and look at the details. And here we have the operations mapping's name and the source operation and the target operations for this. And we can actually look at the definition. By clicking on the definition, we can see that the source interface and the target interface. And here we can double click on this, and here by double click on it, we can see the message mapping that's being used by the operations mapping. And if there are more than one mapping, they will show up here. And we can double click on the mapping, on the message mapping. And the message mapping is going to have the source message type, which is the IDOC. And here is the mapping involved to insert into a table of a database. We can look at the definition of the mapping. And here we will have all the information that is being used, which we can do using drag and drop and using functions. And if we roll down, we can take a look at all the things that's being used here. And so here are all the different type of information, all the mapping information. And if we double click, we open up the key and we can take a look at the material number which is being used as key and how that's being done. And so here are the mapping that's we can use drag and drop to bring it down here, and also the material number that we're going to map it to. We are mapping to two different material numbers. And so here's one, and also here's one, so we can actually map them together. If we need to apply some function manipulation to during the mapping, we have access to various functions. For example, if we had text function here, we can do substrings and concatenations and things like this. And if we want, we have date functions where we can have current date, transformation date, day after, and compare dates. And there are a variety of functions that's available, and these functions are compatible to what is available in the enterprise servers repository when we use the swing tool. And let's go back, let's close this. So here it's back to the integration, and so we have access to all this mapping facilities that we can actually design or make changes during our integration scenario. And now let's close this and take a look on how we start doing this. And what I have shown you is something that has already been created. And suppose we want to create something from scratch. And this is which I just want to give you an idea on how this is being done. And so I click on the folder where I want to create a new integration flow. And so I can create a new integration flow. And here are different type of patterns. And we can give it a name. And then we can go say next. And here we can give the sender and receiver information. And we can browse for a sender information. And we can select the specific interface I want to use. Of course, we can go to the receiver side and do the same. Or we can just say finish. And let's enlarge this. As you remember, we did not assign any information to the receiver side. And so we can actually do it here in the design tool. And so we can say assign a system. And so we can do it here also. And we can assign the interface. Let me just assign any type of interface. And this doesn't really apply because I'm just arbitrarily selecting interfaces, and there may not be a mapping for them. And so I'm just doing this just to show the capability of the tool. And for the channel itself, I can just right-click on this. I can do a configuration channel. And here I give some kind of name. And I can browse, and I can select anything I want. Say if I want to select a soap, say for example. And once it's done, I can enter the adapter information, whether this is best effort or it's going to be exactly once. And once that's done, I can go back here. I can go to the receiver channel side, and I can assign some kind of receiver channel. I can browse, and maybe I want to send it to a file or something. And so here I can provide some adapter specific information and just anything I want. And I can process information. I can add timestamp, or I can add a message ID or add a counter. If I add a counter, it's going to ask, I can provide a prefix between the name and the counter, and the format can be 5 digits long, and I want to increment this by 1 each time the file is created. And if I want to, what I can do is that I can go say, if I want to send it to another receiver, I can right-click here. I can say add a receiver. And now I have two different receivers, and here the receiver is undefined. I can just assign some kind of a receiver name, and again I can assign a interface. Sorry, I need to highlight it first before I do that, and maybe I want to insert. Okay, doing it, and for here I can assign the conditions. In the property tab, and the conditions I can give a XPath expression as well as far as the type of condition I want. And here I can assign mappings. I can say here I want to add a mapping, and then once this mapping is added, then I can assign a mapping, and this is whatever assigned. If I don't assign mapping, then exactly what the sender interface is going to be mapped exactly to the receiver interface. And so if I want to, I can add a mapping. And similarly, I can assign mapping. And so this pretty much demonstrates how the iFlow works on a very high level. And I hope this is helpful.